Hello friends. Today we are going to see what about the views, like what are views and how to use them, how to implement them, and what are some, advantages and disadvantages of the view. So as usual, the agenda would be understanding about the view object and then some practical demo. Okay. Let us very briefly understand what is a view. A view is a virtual table whose contents are defined by a query in a very simple terms, right? So this what does this line means that it is a view definition has a simple select query, nothing else. Okay, it doesn't stores the data, right? And it is the data is generated whenever the view is referenced. So whenever the view is referenced or executed, the underlying SQL statement, the select statement gets executed and returns the data. Okay. Unless index is a view does not exist as a stored set of data values in a database. So as I told you, right, basically view doesn't contain the data. It's a simple logical select query. Okay, but if you have created an indexed view, right, then your data would get stored onto the database as like a table. Similarly, once views are created, you can use them as a table itself. The only difference between table and view is the table in case of table, the data is stored onto the into the database and hard disk, and in case of view, it is on fly the data is generated. So whenever the view is referenced, the query underlying that view would get executed and then the data would be generated. Okay. Query that defines the view can be from one or more tables. So you can have multiple tables, joins into the view. You can have filter clause and you can aggregate. You can write a view on with an aggregate function and all such stuff. Okay, can be used as a security mechanism by letting user access data through a view without granting the user permission to directly access the underlying base tables, right? So this can be sometimes can be used as as a security mechanism in a way that give an access to the view to the user, right, to execute the view, but you actually don't give a permission to the underlying tables, the base tables, to either to alter to modify. In this case, uh, your tables are actually basically secure from the user for any alteration or modification, and they can only execute the view. Okay. One disadvantage of what I found of view is that basically sorry, that you cannot write any other uh, statements into the view. So it basically, whenever the view starts, so the body of the view is such that as soon as the view starts, right, when you start the view writing, you just write a select statement immediately. So if you can see on your screen, the basic syntax is that create view name as, and then immediately your query. That's it. Otherwise, you cannot declare the variables. You cannot, create a temporary tables or any, for that matter, any other objects. You cannot create a temporary index or any such kind. Okay, so let's see something in actions, let me bring my management studio. Okay, so this is, you can see that we are working on this Adventure Works 2019 database. Okay, and as I already told you that what is the basic syntax of view? Create or alter. Now that means if the view is present, then it will actually modify the view. If it is not, then it would create a new view, and then a view name here, right? Then a as clause and a simple select query. Okay, let us see how to create a view. We will first create a very simple view. So here I have taken only one table called person.person, right? And I'm selecting some columns from that table. Okay, let me create a view here. Okay, now view is created, and now how to access the view? So when you want to query the table, what you write? Select star from table name. Similarly here, select star from view name. So as I told you earlier, that view acts as good as table. So when I execute this query, select star from my view name, you can see the data is retrieved. How? That when actually underlying select statement is getting executed and giving us back this data, like business entity ID, person type, name style, first name, middle name, and last name. Okay, so this was a very simple view. Let us see a complex view. When I mean complex view, again, this is not really complex view, but Basically I'm joining more than one table in this view. So here I'm joining sales order header table with sales order detail table, then with customer, then with product, and then with person. And I'm selecting several columns, different columns from different tables. Okay, let me execute this view for you, create this view for you. So my view is created, and now as I told you that you can use view. So my basic view is created, so it will in which it will retrieve the base data, and further on that base data you can have so many filter operations, or the you can write further query with for an aggregation and all such things. Okay, so when you execute this view, this query with a view, it will say, okay, now you can see like 12,000 rows, sorry, 121,000 rows have been retrieved, and there are several rows depending upon the columns we have selected. Now further, if I want to filter this view, the data of this view, so what I can say, I can attach the where clause with my view. So select star from my view, right? So it will select all the data, and then further it will filter where order quantity is greater than 10. So let us see now this. Okay, now this has been filtered, and you can see instead of 121,000, only 2,000 rows have been actually retrieved. And you can see all the rows which are retrieved have order quantity greater than 10. Similarly, now I want that my product name should contain, first two characters should be HL and next can be anything. So when I execute this query, you can see all the records, like 8,000 records have been retrieved, and you can see my first two letters are HL, right? And the rest can be anything. Similarly, it's not necessary that you will have to always retrieve all the columns present in view as good as tables. So for table also we say that only retrieve required columns. So the same goes for the view. So it can be possible that if you specify the column name, then though the view contains many more columns, only this two would be actually retrieved whenever you execute this query, because we have specified the column name here, customer name and order quantity. Okay, clear about this? Right. Let us move ahead. Now, what if I want to, aggregate this data results, whatever has been retrieved. So I have actually, fetch only two columns. Now what I want, for example, you can see James Hendergaard, is having order quantities, various order quantity from various sales orders. So I want to know that customer wise what is the total order quantity. So upon this view I can use this aggregate function sum and then a group by clause. So when I execute this select statement, you can see now I got the data where the order quantity is summed up for each customer. Okay, so you can see the total order quantity. So this way you can create basically view, and then after creating the view you can further use that. Okay, let us move ahead. So now, okay, so until now we have seen that we didn't filter, we done all the filtration outside of the view, that is we created a base view and then we applied the filter. Okay, but you can create a base filter inside the view itself. That's altogether possible. But then your view will have always, when you reference that view, it will have that data as a base data, right? So if in some cases, in some scenarios, if you know that okay, my data is going to be, I want this filtration to be applied whenever this view is referenced. So that also you can do. So what I am doing here, again the same query here, you can see here, but now I am putting the filter in the view itself. That is, my unit price should be between 500 and 1000, right? And my color of the product should be silver. Okay. So when you create this view here, and if you execute this view, you can see now in earlier view there were 121,000 rows. Now you can see as we have kept a filter inside the view itself, the base data has come down to 1,878. And now you can see the base data contains all both these filters. So there will be no data where the unit price is less than 500 or greater than 1000. So you can see all the unit price are between 500 and 1000. And similarly, in the product name, I have not retrieved the column product color, but you can see in the product name itself, you can find the silver in all my products. Got the point? So, which means that the base data itself is filtered. So we have a filtered view itself. And now further on this, as we were we seen in earlier example, further on this also you can keep filtering. So now from this also, if I want to know, okay, what are the what are the customers with the products having order quantity greater than 10. So you can see only one customer and one product whose has order quantity greater than 11. Got the point? So this was, something related to view and, how to write a view, a simple view, a complex view with, containing more than one table, and then even a filtered view. That is, the filtration is applied to the view itself. Okay, now, as I told you that it acts as a table also. So now we are going to join this view, right? Our created view with one of the table. So here what I'm doing, in my view, I am just selecting, we have this view here, if you can see, right? So let me create this view, and I have removed the customer name part here, and I have just, I have selected person ID from my customer database, and now outside of the view, we are going to join these. So now, if you can see, what I'm doing from complex view, so this is my view, and then I'm joining this with a person table on the basis of my business entity ID is equal to person ID. And then from my person table, I am actually getting my customer name. So this is also possible with the view as I told you. So it acts as good as table itself. So now you can see there is a customer name also appears. Okay, now uh, understood until this. Now let us see some administrative part here. So for example, if you want to alter a view or modify a view, or you want to see the text of the view, then there are two ways actually doing this. One is from the Object Explorer. So go to the your database, and on the on the Views tab, what I'm doing, I am filtering this. So can you see here? So just right click this and either do a create to if you want to duplicate a view with changing the business logic, and if you alter the same view, you can have a drop and alter, or you can have an alter to also. So you can see alter view, and then whatever alteration you want to do, you can do it here, right? So this is the one way. Or else what you can do is there is a procedure called SP help text. Okay, and you can see SP help text, and you need to pass a view name there. Okay, so when you pass this view name to SP help text, you will it will provide you the text of the view. Just copy this and put it into new window, and you can see you will get the text of the view, right? So this is another way of getting the view text. Okay, so until now, hope you are clear with the view, which is very basic and which is very easy, right? Now think that you have created a view on a table, and then after you actually alter the schema of that table, the underlying base table. So what will happen? Thus the view will get affected immediately with a new column. Let us see that. Okay, so I'm creating this a table called employee with two columns, employee ID and employee name, and I have inserted the value, and then I'm creating the view, and you can see here I have written select star from. So whatever columns are present in that table, that should get appeared into the view at any point of time. Okay, so let me create this view, and when I actually execute the statement select star from my view, you can see currently there are two columns, employee ID and employee name. Now let us add one more column called DOB. So I'm actually altering the table and adding this. And now if I see, I'm executing both these statements. So my employee table contains DOB, but view still not. It is still not refreshed, right? So in this case, either you will have to alter the view, right? Or there is a system stored procedure called as a refresh view. Execute that stored procedure and pass an name of the view, right? So whenever you execute this, and then after if you will select, you will see that your DOB is actually added to the view now. So it doesn't happens automatically. You will have to, so whenever you need to keep checking through the impact analysis if your table is actually used in a view, then always have the habit of refreshing that view. Okay, now you can restrict as a security, you can restrict the schema changes for all the columns in a table which are referenced by the views. Okay, so there is a what you can say with a with clause, you can say with schema binding. So this is a with clause with schema binding where you can restrict your modification of a table. Let us see how this happens. Okay, I'm again creating a table, and now I am creating this view employee ID, employee name with the clause schema binding. So when you will provide this clause, what will happen? It will not allow you to do any schema changes on either employee ID or employee name. You can still keep adding the column name to the table, but modification will not work, right? For that, you will have to drop the view and then create again a view. Okay, so let me show you this. I have created this with schema binding, and if you can see, there are two columns right now. And then as soon as I try to alter the column name, see my column name here was varchar 50, and I'm trying to alter this, it is to varchar 100, right? So when I execute this statement, you can see it gives an error. The object vEmployee is dependent on a column emp name, right? So vEmployee is dependent on a column emp name, and hence we cannot alter that, right? So if you again, if you will go back and check your employee table, it would have not been actually changed. Let me employee. Okay, right? And if you see the columns, let me refresh this. And if you can see the column, it is still varchar 50. Why? Because we are, we created a view with a schema binding which doesn't allow to change, do any schema modification. And even, you know, even with your SP refresh view, if you will fire this, then it will say that metadata was not updated for the schema bound object, right? So even SP refresh view will not work. Okay, right? Got the point? Right. Then comes in encryption. If you don't want your, definition of view to be displayed to an user or to, for that matter, to anybody, right? Only with the privileged users you want to share, right? Then you can actually encrypt the contents of the view, right? And that will use a clause encryption with with encryption clause. Okay. Let us see that encryption. Again, I'm creating this table, because I have dropped it. And now this time, instead of schema binding, I'm saying with encryption. Okay. Now I have created this view employee, and let us filter, refresh this. Okay. Give me a second. Okay. I think we have a filter here. Okay. Right. I am removing the filter. And now you can see vEmployee, and I am saying, see, everything is disabled automatically because it was with encryption. You cannot script it. Sorry. So when you say select script, yeah, see, insert into you. What you can do, select into, insert into, and all the updated part, where you want to update is actually disabled. You cannot see that because we have created this with encryption. Even with the SP help text, if you will try to get that data, it will say the text for the object employee is encrypted. So if you have if you have created a view with an encryption, that unless and until privileged user is using, or then only that user can see that. Otherwise, nobody can see the definition. Okay, right? And the last part is that DML operation. With a view, you can create a DML operation, but if your view is simple with a single table, right? If you have used very multiple table and created complex joins in a view, then you cannot actually do a DML operation. So let us see the demo of DML operation here. Execute. I'm creating this table, and you can see here now I have created this view with only single table, right? And now what I'm doing, now you can see I'm not using the employee table. Okay, I'm using the uh, view name here to insert the data. When I say insert, one row is inserted, and if I say if I select this, then you can see that even table contains that it's not that it is coming from the view. So if I say select star from employee, okay, then you can see, right? Similarly, if I want to update, I can update that. And if I fire the select statement of view, you can see the test has been updated. And similarly, you can delete the record also, right? And if you can again fire this, then only two records again. So obviously you can do the DML operations on an view, but that is limited to basically only with a single table. right? I hope you have enjoyed, in watching this view demo and do some practice by your own so that, to get a more detailed, knowledge about the views and to clear your concepts, right? Uh, Please subscribe to my channel if you are happy with the content and, with the type of video I create, so that whenever I, update new videos, you will get the notification. And also, don't forget to like and share this video with your colleagues and friends. Okay, bye for now. See you in the next video with the next topic.